Are you open to new ways of thinking? That's a tough question because there's probably some things that you don't even realize where you're not open to a new way of thinking. I listened to a great speech on Monday night from a fellow Toastmaster. And she was doing her first speech in the club. It was her first time. And she talked about this concept. Strangely, this was going to be exactly what I was talking about this week. And for her, it came with she wanted to do new things, but English was not her first language. And so she looked at Toastmasters for a really long time and she never actually made it to the meeting. And finally, she has stepped forward and she's come to the meeting. And what was holding her back was her belief that her English wasn't good enough. Now, if you'd been sitting with me and watching the speech, you would have thought, well, that's crazy. Her English was perfect, other than she speaks with an accent. But we do this to ourselves on the regular. She had been telling herself for so long that she needed to do something different or she needed to be better at English before she could move forward. But the rest of us sitting in the room are going, we gotcha. There might have been one or two sentences where maybe she said things in a different order or she used a word I may not have chosen, but it didn't take away from me understanding her point. It wasn't wrong per se. It was just a different choice. And so I think we do this more often than we realize. It comes up for me in a lot of different things. It took me, I've talked a lot about when I had half my thyroid removed, I never came back to full energy. But I had rules around working out and my body couldn't do it anymore. And the rules for me was that it had to be intense, it had to be hard, it had to be, I had to be building muscle and I had to be doing all of this stuff, but my body wouldn't do that anymore. It would still do it, but then I would be exhausted after. And so I had to come to the realization and switch my thinking to, you know what? It doesn't have to be like that. I don't have to work out for a full hour. I don't even have to work out for a half hour. I can do a 10-minute workout and I can do different things like yoga or qigong. And that's still enough movement for me in the day. And it still keeps me at a decent weight. It's, obviously I'm not buff like I have been in the past, but there are things that this is just my new reality. And so I had to change my thought pattern before I could come to accepting where I was at. And we do this not only for ourselves, but we do it on teams as well. The most dangerous thing or sentence I hear from teams and companies is, we've always done it that way. Well, why did you always do it that way? What was the purpose for it? And is that purpose gone now? Maybe you don't need to do a certain report anymore. Maybe it was put in for a time. You don't even actually need to run it anymore. You need to look at why were you doing those things? And is it still serving you to do that? And so this is really important when we are, especially in the world we're living in now. I think over the last 2 years, things just all of a sudden up and changed on us. And we had no choice but to change the way we thought about things. There were a lot of companies that never wanted their employees to work from home, and now they work from home. Not only did they work from home, but they got more done, and it was actually better. People had a better work-life balance. So what are you holding on to right now? A rule or something that's not serving you anymore? And I suggest taking a look at one thing at a time, and then also doing this with your team. As leaders, we need to discuss this with our team. What's working? What's not? It will take some time, but maybe talk to somebody outside the team as well. Hey, we've been doing this for a while and maybe it hasn't been working. So when you do that, then you can start to look at the rules that you've put in place and then maybe take them out. Maybe they don't need to be there anymore. In November, I will be running a Solopreneur to CEO Mindset. I'm adding a little word to the title. We're calling it Solopreneur to CEO Mindset now. It's to help the solopreneurs out there hire that first contractor, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed right now. This is for you. Running a business on your own does take a lot of energy, but very helpful if you can get the support that you need. And this course will help you do that. So please connect with me. I'll have my information, or the information on the course will be in the chat or in the comments afterwards. And happy to see you again next week.